Okay, so good morning. Long time no see. We will talk about that. Right now I am doing my school drop off for my children, and yeah, it's early in the morning. I did not typically my kids catch a bus, but for some reason I guess one of the buses isn't coming, and so my kids' bus has to pick up some other kids, and they would have been outside for like an extra 20 minutes, and it's cold. Where I live, it's pretty cold. So I'm headed home right now. Hi, long time no see. So before we can talk further, I also have to take my oldest to school, so let's go do that. So I feel like I shouldn't be in here, but this is where I get my daughter's medication. And I just thought it was like really cool how I found a fourth wing with the sprayed edges. And today's date is like January 28th or 29th, so. And when I went over by the little section that they had all the fourth wing stuff, it wasn't there. So I got lucky. I have to get it. So I just have to pick up something for my husband, and then I can go. I'm so disappointed in Target. Then my little mini-me. So I'm in the car right now, just came from Target, and I don't know, like I feel like such a sellout when I come here, but my daughter's medication, like the CVS here is where I go to get the medication. Of course, I feel like you go inside and then like you just have to get something. So yeah, I'm sweating. So while I was in there, guys, I did, however, get a protein snack pack. I do like these. This is turkey sausage and Colby Jack cheese. So what's crazy is while I was in there, I'm sorry, she's hungry, so I just gave her my snack pack. What's crazy is while I was in there, I got 2 books, which I probably shouldn't have, but these sprayed edges are limited edition. I'm not gonna find them anywhere else. So I'm super excited. I got Onyx Storm, and I'm about to finish Iron Flame right now so that I can jump into that. Like, excitement isn't even a thing. And then since February is coming, I wanted to get like a Valentine's Day themed book, because I have actually, since Christmas, I've been liking the theme books. In October, I read X-Hex. And then in December, I read Spectacular from Caravel, because I mean, it was a Christmas themed novella. I had to. And then I read, it's something Dream, and that was by Lauren Asher. Anyways, I got this one, which is called My Funny Demon Valentine. And this, I'm gonna read this before Valentine's Day, but it's so cute. It says I think it's about a demon who escapes from hell with his brothers and falls in love. Yeah, and his name is Ash and her name is Eva. All right, so let's talk about where I've been. Like, let's do that. I mean, I'm only going to talk for a little bit because I need to finish listening to my book, and you guys are going to be wobbling because I don't have like a steady dashboard cam, so sorry. Where have I been? It's been so long since I have posted anything or made anything about what's been going on with me. But to make a long story short, about 2 years ago, clearly, I got pregnant, or I guess it would be almost 3 years now because she's about to be 2, and I would count the year that I was pregnant. So about 3 years ago, I got pregnant. So 2022, I was pregnant. And when I got pregnant, I got really depressed. I got so depressed because even though my husband and I had discussed having another child, like it was an option, I didn't think it would happen as fast as it did. Like, clearly your girl is fertile myrtle over here. And I mean, that's cool and everything, but you know, I really, like, I was trying to work on my body. I was, you know, going to the gym. I was just trying to better myself, and a baby just didn't seem like a good idea at the time. But I had also made, like, him and I had made like a promise. I was like, if I don't get pregnant by the time I'm 35, we're just gonna chuck it up to like no more kids, right? So I was 34. Yeah, I'm 36 now. Yeah, I'm 36 now. I was 34 at the time. And it took. I got pregnant. And I was sad, but I was like, okay. I felt like, you know, society looks at you a certain type of way when you have a lot of kids. And I don't even feel like I have a lot of kids, but I have 4, including this one. So I feel like, you know, you're looked at a certain way, and I just didn't want those types of not stipulations, but stereotypes put on me. Now, mind you, I'm a married woman, but still, it just, I wasn't ready. I did not want to have another kid. And it's cool. It's cool. I love her to death. But at the time, I was just like, I don't want anyone telling me anything. So to me, at that time, when I found out I was pregnant, I was like, the silver lining would be if it's a boy. Because if you don't know, I have all girls. So I was like, okay, I already got 3 girls. I don't need another girl. I would love a boy. So strike 1 was me getting pregnant as soon as I did in the first place. Strike 2, they were like I did the little blood test where you can see if there's any abnormalities or anything that could go wrong with the kid, like possibly. And you could also find out the gender at like 9 or 10 weeks. I think I found out at 9 weeks. So I was like early in the pregnancy. I barely had a belly. I mean, I had like my bone, but I didn't have like a belly. So I did the blood test, and those results came back, baby. And they came back and they said it was another girl. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was so mad. And I even had people, like, when we would go to like events and stuff or parties and stuff, when we found out that it was a girl, they were like, oh, why didn't you do a gender reveal? I was like, 1, that's a lot of partying, and I'm an introvert. I don't like to do all that. 2, if I was going to do it, it's just not my thing. And 3, I knew for a fact that if it was not a boy, I was going to be upset, which I was. I was genuinely upset. And what I hate, especially about people who are like older than me, is they will tell you things like, a baby is a blessing, 10 fingers, 10 toes. I get all that, but don't minimize my feelings about wanting a boy and not getting it. Like, I wanted to have a son. I have 3 daughters. I did not want a 4th daughter. I wanted a son. I have a stepson, but you know, like, I wanted a son. So I was really sad about that, and I just didn't want to have, like, when you're at like a gender reveal, you got people in your face and everything, and I'm a grumpy pregnant person. I know that. So I was like, no, that's just not my thing. So I found out that it was a girl. On top of that, I have a condition. I'm Rh negative, so that's a factor in your blood. You can do your research on it. Pretty much, I have to get a shot every time I conceive a baby. whether it's to term or not. If I have a miscarriage, I got to get a special shot. I think it's called the Rogaine shot. If I have a miscarriage, I got to get that shot. If I have the baby to term, I have to get that shot. And if I, you have a stillborn, I still have to get that shot. Because what your body does is it starts to turn on itself, and, bad things can happen. Like my aunt, when I was little, she had one of my closest cousins when she was, I think she was 15 or 16. So she had, teen pregnancy. But she was trying to hide it from my grandma, because my grandma was like a no-nonsense type of woman. So she was trying to hide it. She didn't know that she was Rh negative as well. It's a genetic thing. It travels from, you get it genetically. It's not something that can be transferred to anybody. I mean, your kids. But, so she had it and she didn't know. And her body, because she was trying to hide the pregnancy from my grandmother, her body started to attack itself. And she started having seizures. And that's when she found out she was Rh negative, because she started having the seizures. And then my grandma had to know, because she was like a teenager at the time. So that's a little family. And it comes, or I don't want to say it comes from, but I know it does stem from the Proctor family line, which my grandma is. My grandma was, God rest her soul, she was a Proctor. Her last name is Proctor. And it's genetic. That's all it is. So I am Rh negative. I found this out when I was pregnant with my first kid. So I knew that I had to go through that whole thing. And when you're Rh negative, you have to have the Rogaine shot. And then there's all this stuff that you got to do at the doctor's office that is just a little extra than if you don't have it. That's all that to say, right? So my doctor's appointments, they would take my blood sugar would be high, my blood sugar would be low. I did the little test where you had to drink that nasty drink that tastes like Robitussin. So I drank that, they took my blood, the results came back inconclusive, so I had to do it again. Mind you, when you go for that appointment where they're testing you for diabetes, yes, boo boo. When they're testing you for diabetes, that appointment's like an hour long, because you have to drink the thing and then you have to sit for an hour. And after that hour, that's when you go for your regular appointment. So I had to do that twice. So I was like, there she go. She's making this pregnancy difficult. On top of that, never had I ever had morning sickness with any of my other three. The three that are behind each other. Never did I ever have morning sickness. Ho-ho, homegirl. Anytime I smelled anything, I could be hungry, I would take a bite of something, I'm throwing it up. I had a horrible first trimester. I was throwing up. I was in the doctor's office all the time. I was like, okay, she wants to make sure that she is the last one. Then when it was time to give birth to her, around that time before giving birth, mind you, she was due February 15th. Homegirl had the nerve to not only be born in February, but be born closer to my birthday. I already shared February with my second kid. I did not want to share it again. So not only was she due February 15th, which I was like, maybe she'll be come in March. No, February 15th. So not only was she due then, but the doctor's office that I go to, my gynecologist, and I love him so much, he's so amazing. He's getting up there in age in the practice, and he no longer did births. So he doesn't deliver anymore. Now, I could still go see him. I could go see him today, and it's great. It's fine. But during the pregnancy process, he didn't see me. Now, he even made exceptions for me during the pregnancy, when I needed to see somebody. So I love him to death, and I understand, no hard feelings. So I had to see some of the new doctors. Luckily, one of the doctors that ended up delivering her, she delivered my first baby. my 13-year-old. So I was like, all right, cool. You know, I'm used to her. I like her. But, you know, you got to meet all the doctors in the practice. So I met with the other doctors, and 2 of them, they were nice guys, very nice when I first met them. But let me tell you, these guys were so adamant on me having a cesarean. I had a C-section with my 10-year-old. Yeah, my 10-year-old. She's about to be 11. So I had a cesarean with my 10-year-old. Okay, I'm sorry. So I had to park my car. Actually, I'm gonna make breakfast and then we will, well, it's more like brunch because it's about to be 11 and I need to finish these by 2, so. So that was a brief lunch break. I have a Miri, and please excuse this. These are actually like my pillows, and then there's just one sweatshirt, but it looks like I have a bunch of clothes piled up behind me. I do not. So where I left off, so I was talking about when I was pregnant with Amiri, my new baby, so they were trying to convince me to get a cesarean. And like I said, I had already had a successful VBAC, which is pretty much when you have had a baby after a cesarean. That's what a VBAC is. For anyone who didn't know, I don't want to come off as like, little Miss Know-it-all. But if you have had a cesarean before and you have a vaginal pregnancy after, you're considered a VBAC. So I had a successful one with my 7-year-old. So, and I was asking, were there any problems? Was there anything wrong with the baby? Was there anything that they felt like they had any type of concerns with? They could give me nothing. He was like, oh, no, it's just a precaution. And like I said, nice doctor, but I also used to work in the medical field, so I do understand kind of how these things go. You do make more money off of the surgery. And it's more money for you, but it's also a longer healing process for me. It's a longer, more difficult healing process for me. So I really wasn't interested in doing anything like that. So that was like my neck strike. Like my entire pregnancy experience was hell. Then on top of Amiri's due date being the 15th, she decided to come late. Now I know it's not unheard of, but typically more than likely people tend to have, a late birth for their like first child. After that, they just kind of tend to just come. She's not my first child, she's my last, and she came when she felt like it. So not only that, so she was late. And then I just kept telling myself, I said, please don't come on my birthday. Just don't come on my birthday. She didn't come on my birthday. She came 2 days later. So I was pregnant on my birthday, which I was not supposed to be. So I was miserable. I stayed home. I couldn't really do anything. I didn't really want to do anything. I just wanted to eat and like be in my bed. And then 2 days later, the next day, actually, I went to the hospital. So my birthday is February 19th. I went to the hospital February 20th. And I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to be the 19th. She's going to be the 20th. No. They ended up having they gave me something. It's not an induction, but whatever it is, it gets that process going. Like it's like a jump start. But she did not say that she induced me. So I could be wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. But shortly after I got the medication, my labor was slow. I'm thinking Amiri's gonna come like that. Like, this is my 4th child. She should just be flying out at this point, right? No, little mama decided that she was going to take her time. So I was in labor for like 8. Asha. I was in labor for like 8 or 9 hours. So she's the only one that kind of comes off the cusp, because like my 13-year-old, I was in labor for 8 hours. Then her sister was 10. And then the one after her was 21. And this one, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. So 10 hours. So both of my February babies were 10 hours. So she took 10 hours to come. I did not expect that. The only thing that was good was when she did come, she just kind of slid right out. I tell everyone who's about to have a vaginal birth. So I tell anyone who's about to have a vaginal birth to grease that thing up. And that's what I did. And let me tell you, I did 2 pushes. I think she was born in like a minute. I didn't even push for that long. And the other thing was my epidural. At first I was just gonna try to like not get anything. Like that was my goal. Like I don't want any type of medication. And I was good for a long time. And then out of nowhere, the pain just got super, super intense. And I was like, you know what? I tried. I was crying. I was like, give me something. So they gave me, or they tried. The lady came in. First off, the first lady that came in was really nice. But that was when I was like, no, I don't want an epidural, blah, blah, blah. Second lady, I guess, the shift changed. So the second lady that came in, she was not very friendly. She had an attitude. And I just feel like if you're in maternity, you need to be happy-go-lucky from the moment you walk in the door. If your boyfriend broke up with you, or someone lied to you, your best friend stole money from you, whatever the case may be, when you go into the maternity ward, you need to leave it at the door and you can pick it up on your way out. I just feel like that is a moment in a woman's life where, while she's giving birth, she is her most vulnerable. She's very uncomfortable, and it's a fragile time. So the lady that came in to give me my epidural, she had like major attitude vibes. I was not feeling it, and she kept telling me not to scream. Like, don't scream, don't yell. Mind you, I am having excruciating contractions, and I've been having these contractions for about 8 hours at this point. So at this point, I had been in labor for quite some time. Like, I was in labor for a minute at this point. Sorry. So I was in labor for a hot second at this point. And she gave me the epidural, or she attempted to. And once the solution, they started injecting it, I was like I could feel it in my chest. And I remember being like, it's not going in the right direction. Like, I could still feel the pain from my lower body, but breathing was becoming something that I had to think to do. Like, not just like I looked over at my mom. I said, Mom, I'm working to breathe. And I remember touching my face and my face feeling numb and being like, okay, this isn't my first rodeo. This is not my first epidural. So I know it's not supposed to feel like this. After a while, I remember my mom coming over and me being like, tell them to stop, like, turn it off. It's not working. It's in the wrong spot. So they turned it off. And I was able to get like a little nap in for like an hour. And then after that, it was go time. I remember being like, I feel like I got a number 2. And I felt a lot of pressure down there. And then I was like, yeah, let's just do it. Like, forget the epidural. So I wanted to have her naturally. And I ended up having her naturally. And I remember it being like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Now, it was painful. Don't get me wrong. It was painful. But I feel like the worst part was the contractions. Once it was time to push and have her get it. Once it was time to push and give birth to her, it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was like a burn, and then it felt like a snap, and then she came out. and it was really easy. Like, but that's all. I also wasn't pushing for a long period of time, so I don't know. My little 1 minute push, that was all she needed, and then she was out. So yeah, then she was born February 21st. So this coming 21st of February will be her second birthday. So that's where I've been. I've been mommying, and for some reason with this baby, I have had a really hard time getting back into a routine. I feel like with the others, I was able to get right back into it, mesh the baby into the life that I have set up for myself and, get going. But that hasn't been the case with her, and I'm not 100% sure why. I have also been struggling with postpartum depression. And so it's been really hard to get back into the groove, and it's been really hard to just turn on the camera and go and not worry about what people are going to think or how people are going to perceive me. So what I think I'm going to do, I don't know what my channel is going to be, but I'm going to try to make it as authentically me as I possibly can. So if you cared to know, that's what happened. So how everything else with most people is really polished? This is not going to be polished because she does her own thing. Look, who's that? Look. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? What's your name? Who's that? Mary? Yeah? You like that? Alright. Yeah, so I'm gonna chill before I have to go get her sisters because their bus has an issue, so say bye-bye.